Hello there, it's Julie back again. I thought I'd show you how to make a tied posy. This is a posy made of gyp or gypsophila to give it its correct name, and it's been tied using the spiralling technique and then fastened off with a little ribbon attachment with some pearl-headed pins. So I'll just get ready with my flowers and my scissors, and I'll be back in a moment to show you how to make your bouquet. So once you've fluffed up the flower stems and sorted them out, detangled them in effect, you need to cut the gyp into lengths so you can use those for your bouquet. So at the moment it's quite bushy with one main stem with lots of side shoots coming off, and the idea is that you cut as many lengths as you can according to the size of your bouquet to get value for money out of the flowers you've purchased. So to begin with, I'm going to cut off this side shoot at the bottom, which will give me one length. And then looking at the stems again, I'm going to cut here quite near the bottom to give me a second length, and then probably I'm going to keep that one, looks about the right length to me. But they're too bushy at the sides to make a neat hand-tied bouquet, so I'm going to cut off the side shoots. So you do need to cut off quite a lot of the flower heads to leave you with this lollipop, the circle at the top and then the straight stem. So I've got number one down there. Number two, again, you might think that looks lollipop. To me, it's too oval at the top. So I'm going to take off those side shoots. So I've got my circle, my full head at the top, and then the stem coming down. So that's stem number three. And then here, I've got two offshoots at the side, so snip those. So it's given me three straight stems, and then I've got an awful lot of gyp left over, which I'll have to use for another project. So what I'm going to do is work through the rest of my bunch, and I'll come back to you when I've prepared all my flower materials, and we'll move on from there. So see you in a moment. So I've finished preparing my flower stems, and I lift those up. You'll see that I've got a line of bushy heads, and then I've got the bare stems that are just hanging down below. Now you could just group this together in a casual posy and tie a ribbon around it, but sometimes it can look a bit bushy and a bit uncontrolled from the top, so we're going to use slightly more skill to arrange these into a neat posy. So what I'm going to do is to take a couple of stems and just hold them in my hands, and you'll see as I'm placing those together, I'm trying really hard to get the flower heads all level at the top. And then I'm right-handed, and what I do is I place the flowers into my left hand, and I'm making a sort of pincer grip movement. My hand is really loose and I'm not getting any strain, there's no pain coming to my arm or shoulder, and I'm just sliding the flower heads between my thumb and my forefinger, and the heads immediately resting where they start to branch out onto the top, the side of my thumb here, and the stems just falling away. And then I go through the pile and I pick up the individual flowers and I hold them up to my bouquet, but I've got a gap here. I haven't immediately put it right next to the bouquet. I've got a gap. I can bring that closer so you can see this little gap here. So the bushy head is on the top right hand side of the bouquet, and the stems are coming across diagonally, and I just place it there, and then using my right hand gather the stems together and rotate the flower head in my hand. And I repeat again. So the stem goes out to the side, and I've got a gap here. I'll hold it up there so you can see. Grasp them with my right hand. Turn the bouquet about a third turn. I'm not being precise. And you continue on. So I'm very relaxed in my shoulder, and I'm going one stem at a time. Now, the more confident you get, you could start to add in perhaps 3 or 4 stems at a time, making sure those heads were all level. Pinching them together, putting them in the bouquet. There's a gap here. Grasping them with my right hand and then turning the bouquet. And that is how you begin to build up the flowers to create a lovely domed profile. So as you can see, the stems, although I've sorted them out, are still being a bit tricky. So you just need to have lots of patience. Adding it in, the heads on the top right, the stems falling away over here. and work our way through the bouquet. And it's exactly the same movement until you've finished up all of your materials, or until you've got your little posy the size that you want to have it. So what I'm going to do is stop the film, and I will come back as I add in my last few stems. So that's how we are at the moment, nice and circular, the stems having a nice profile at the top, and then the spiralling stems coming out at the bottom. So I'll leave it there for a moment, and I'll come back as I add in my last few stems. So here we have the posy so far, nice round head and the stems coming down, and I've got 4 more pieces to fit in. So the same action again, off to one side, place it round, grasp the bouquet and twist. Flowers in, grasp, twist. Flowers across, grasp and twist. Flowers across, grasp and twist. And if you're doing this, it's sometimes helpful to stand in front of a mirror so you can keep checking that you've got this right nice round profile, or hold it up so you can have a look. And I'm going to tie that off quite high underneath the top of the flowers. So I've got some string here, and I'm going to run it round the top of my hand, so it's going between the top of my hand and the underside of the flowers a couple of times. And this is a string that I can twist to tie. If you don't have that, you can just use a conventional piece of string and tie a knot in it. So there you can see that tied the bouquet off, and here's a piece of string at the top here, and the straggly stems down the bottom. So the time has come now to cut down the stems, and what I do is I hold the flowers in my hand, one fistful there, one fistful here, and then I trim the flowers just under that bottom fist, so sort of 2 hand holds, and then trim off. Hold the stems together, and just a few stems at a time, cut right the way across to give a neat finish at the bottom. So quite a lovely casual posy. Having tied it with the string, I do want to jazz it up a little bit, because that was just the working piece of string. You want to cover it up with something, so a piece of ribbon will do. So I've got some gauzy ribbon here, which I'm going to keep on the reel because I'm never quite sure how much I'm going to use. And because it is quite fine, I'm going to double it up. I'm going to place it onto the string, just hold it in place with my thumb, and then take the ribbon down the stem of the handle. And it's up to you how far down the handle you go. So I've gone probably 2 or 3 centimetres down, and then I'm going to trim that off on the side there. So I've got this sort of sticky up bit of ribbon here, and I then fold it under because I want to hide those cut ends, and push it down. I'm holding it with my thumb, my finger, and then taking some pearl-headed pins, attach it in place. Now my pearl-headed pins are a couple of centimetres long, 2 or 3 centimetres long. If I was to push that right way through the bouquet, it's going to come out the other side, and it's going to catch on your bride's fingers, or even worse, perhaps catch and snap her dress, so you don't want to do that. So I'm going to fasten the pin, and as I push it in, I'm pushing it along the length of the stems towards the head of the flowers. So that first pin has held the ribbons in place around the flower, but just one pin on its own looks a bit mean, so I'm going to add in a few more to create a little cuff effect travelling up the handle of the bouquet. And then I think I need one more. Now if I go up again into the head, you run the risk that the pin's going to pop out through the head of the flowers. So I'm going to turn the bouquet up the other way round and add in the last few pins facing down the other way. Just so you've got a continuous line, but you know that the pins are all out of harm's way. So I've got there, in fact that one there is nicking me, so I shall readjust that. And there we have the finished tied bouquet of jip with a small wrap of ribbon as a handle. You could continue the handle right the way down, but I quite like the exposed stems for a more casual look. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing your own posies So do post me a comment, drop me a line if you've got any questions, and I'm happy to help you. So that's all from me, and I'll see you another time. Happy flowers.